caption settings. So it's
Cool. Okay. So now my audio is actually working. And now people should be able to hear you. I got some lo-fi going in the background. If that's possible.
okay. I can hear myself, but I don't think I can hear you in the stream.
Great. Yeti. No.
Oh no, I can hear it.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, I can see it on the monitor.
Like hearing you twice. I was like, wait, which one am I talking to?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm just going to hope and assume that the Peeps is watching. Okay, yeah, thanks, Aaron. That helps out massively. So I guess welcome to the first episode of GPT with me, with Kristeen Romero,
with us,
and myself.
GPT with us.
With us nerds. Yeah, right. Like we probably should have said GPT with us.
GPT with us. No, but then GPT with us is so much cuter because like you get like.
I know.
Like, yeah, GPT's with me, you know?
It's that alliteration, right? Like it rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, GPT with me.
Yeah. So, let me see. I can't I can't do both at the same time. Well, I think I can, but I don't want to add another source for you guys.
Like, looking at the chat or putting me on the screen.
Yeah, that's the thing is I was like,
I mean,
okay.
It's quite clear to like figure out who's talking.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's. I don't think you guys are gonna need to go between.
You don't sound like a tiny little Asian girl.
I don't. That's one problem I don't have, so I'm thankful about it. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue in the future. We'll see. Yeah, like the I don't know. The show stuff will get going as time goes on. As you can see, it's already like massive tech difficulties out the gate, but we're here and that's all that matters.
I mean, on the bright side, at least we're doing the episode, even if it took us like 13 minutes to figure out what the heck to do. I was
gonna say, like, either way, you guys are gonna get to see this episode. So either you caught it now or you're gonna catch it later. I don't think it matters to either one of us, so long as you watch it, enjoy it, have fun. So tons of stuff this past week. It was so hilarious to me because seemingly slow week from a lot of reviewers and a lot of people that I follow online, but it was one of those things where, like, collaboratively, if all of them had gotten together, you would see that it was actually a massive week for AI. But I want to dive into that later because I know that, like, I know people are watching for the GPT-ness of things.
People are also watching for the news, to be fair, because, like, I don't think everyone keeps up with the news, so, you know, just having like a short recap is useful. Like, I don't know, like, I don't think there's much, but then suddenly, like, ChatGPT also brought like the code interpreter to public now, so like everyone's freaking out about that.
I was gonna say, so like a lot of new stuff. So like code interpreter, right, is like one of the new betas that's out. This is ridiculous, right? Because like what I just finished testing on a new toy called Virtual Brain. And that's what you actually see like in the bottom corner over here. And it's very cool. So like what this tool does is acts as like a digital repository for your files, and it's like a secured online repository. And you could do stuff like put all of your invoicing and all of your customer data, all of your history, not customer data like CRM data, but like any emails or anything like that. You can store all of that data in one repository, and then you can use this as an interface to talk to those files and to talk to that data. And in that natural language processing way, you can basically like pull together.
That's actually cool.
It is.
It's like a plugin on your Chrome browser.
Yeah, and I've played around with it, so I had some questions about it because it's not just GPT with me, but like a lot of these, or I'm sorry, it's not not just Virtual Brain, but like a lot of these plugins, right? Like there's Max AI, which is a plugin where essentially you just whatever you highlight on your page. Wow, so now AI Brain's trying to take over. So I have too many running at the same time now, but Max AI will also give you like a sort of GPT interface to interact with the content that's on a page. This is how many add-ons I have at this point. If I do a Google search for dogs jumping, so automatically I get my virtual brain breakdown. Yeah, exactly, with like all of its stuff, and then I get this. I don't even remember the name of this plugin, Write GPT. So this is like a GPT co-pilot that follows you around on the internet wherever you go, and just gives you the ability to, I think even through Shortcut, to just go ahead and start creating prompts, creating text, whatever it is. So this one I picked up because like LinkedIn, right? So it makes it really easy for me to be able to go around, check out a story, write the...
That's Cider and Write GPT.
Yeah. It's
we gotta link that to like people after the show. Okay. I mean, like I said, like you test so many like AI tools, like it's crazy, and a lot of people don't test these tools because they're either too busy or like it's not a particular hobby or something like that. So it's great that we have this like show where we can geek out and like tell everybody all these like cool things that you're discovering, that they don't have to spend much time like going through all the the stuff that doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, that's the other part of it, right? So like that's why I was even touching on Code Interpreter in the first place, was like, so this is what Virtual Brain does, right? It does all that content aspect of it, but now Code Interpreter does the same thing, right? So like Code Interpreter now is able to take data and you can you can see right here like something that didn't exist before, upload file. So now we're able to go through and we're able to upload files into GPT. I should have brought some test data. I barely had a chance to even look at this yesterday.
We can do that another week anyway.
Oh, for sure.
As long as we kind of like just generally talk about like the news, I think, just so people were up to date.
Yeah, no, because
I can start testing.
Yeah, it would take. It's not that it would take a whole lot of time or anything, but like I will take it.
Will take the time.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know already, like I will definitely spend way too much time on even the tiniest little tool, just trying to make it awesome. So, yeah, it's definitely something that I'm going to be looking into, and we'll definitely play with in the future. But
we might have to do like a next episode on like Code Interpreter, just because like it's so new.
Yeah, and it's like that's the thing, is it's touting, let's say, I mean, essentially it's functionality. I shouldn't say it's touting, because it's functionality that's a part of the program. So the functionality of it is essentially the same as Virtual Brain. So I'm also talking to the co-founder of Virtual Brain, and not an ongoing active conversation, just back and forth a little bit. But so I'm going to be putting that video out this week to talk about that software, and sort of like going back and forth with her about like, okay, well now not only Virtual Brain, but what is it, Wand?
Basically like company just like releases new tools that initially you thought that like app, like these like external app developers kind of like fill in the gaps for, but it seems like ChatGPT is starting to fill those gaps, and now you're just wondering like, where is this all headed?
Yeah,
because now it's like you have all these things that people have invested in. A lot of people got actual funding for these. Now it's basically like, now we have to like completely pivot.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's like, and yeah, especially because we have these new tools that have so much capability to them. So it's like, it is like, this is the explosion, right? Of the culmination, I suppose, of all of that stuff. Cause they were, I was listening to a podcast earlier from, gosh, what is his name? Really, really cool kid. He's really like on top of stuff. Jaden Schaefer does a podcast on YouTube about GPT and was talking about how the actual numbers of people who are using or joining, not using, but the number of people who are joining GPT on a monthly basis, like finally kind of came down a little bit for like the first time since inception, which I don't really think is is like a metric for anything other than the adoption rate being slower really just points to these tools getting more popular, right? It's not so like really all you're seeing is a deviation from people who know how to use the core tool and people who are now using these like third-party tools that are based off of that core tool.
Yeah, and it also is like, what do you mean by adoption? Like new users or like active users as well? Because if we're talking about new users, obviously it's gonna go down, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll have that initial peak. Like the same with video games, any product, right? Especially if it's super like hyped up, and then some people will don't have enough people to like continuously have that high adoption. It's unrealistic to expect that.
No.
So there's that as well. All right. Do you wanna like start the demo of like the buyer persona stuff?
Yeah. Okay, so
Let's do it.
Let's see. Probably the top thing that people ask about first and foremost is prompt writing and like how it gets done, how I write stuff, and what the differences are. So it's like you definitely could start out with something like let's go with a well-known company too. So I would like you to create for buyer personas for you know what? Okay, so I do have to make some quick changes. So default, obviously, we cannot have web access. I'm not going to use code interpreter. Mm-hmm. Everything that we do, and I know that this is going to kind of be like sort of, if it seems snobby to you, get over it. Everything that we do is going to be using pro version, and it's going to be using like either web browsing, interpreter, or plugins. So if you're using the standard edition and you're like, hey, Nico Kristeen, like I can't do this stuff because I only have standard, cancel your Netflix and pick up a GPT instead. You'll definitely
because $20, like the power of the pro account is just so good. Like not only can you use it but you can use it for your personal life. I have it like helping me with my diet and exercise plans at the moment, or asking it for career advice. Like it'll pay dividends like by the pro version. And like just FYI everyone as well, like I live in Hong Kong where technically ChatGPT is not allowed, so I've had to jump hoops to even get like a pro plan. So like that's how powerful it is. Like I would go like to that degree to just get an account.
Yeah, it's I mean it's so worth it. It really is. I can't stress it enough. 9 out of 10 times, like everybody. My wife has her own pro account. Like we don't even bother trying to like use each other's. Like it's just worthwhile to have it. You'll see right here.
Yeah,
so, like,
I tell people that they need their own individual account because like shared one, like you might save money, but there's just things that you don't want to ask that like you want to ask and like have your another person see, right?
Right. So yeah, and that being the case, like that's why you guys can't see my bookmark bar. It's why you can't see my history. Like I would love to show you my history, but I gotta clean it up a little bit. And Not that there's anything like whatever Randy or anything in there. It's more just like the personal data testing and stuff that I've been doing on my own.
I can confirm that as someone who's actually seen some of his stuff.
There's a lot. They're all named too. Like
there's nothing naughty in there. He's doing legit stuff, everyone.
So we're going to start out with GPT-4. We're going to go to plugins enable, and we're going to enable memory bank, which is a just, the one of the bigger issues is that your instance can remember only so much. And even if you think that it can hold all of, let's say, the datas, but after like 2-3 weeks of working with the same instance, even without memory bank, you're going to start getting some flubbing. It's going to, I've done this with my easiest comparison is when I was working with Midjourney, and I used a GPT instance to do Midjourney prompting. It would recognize and use the same things for probably up to like 50 or 60 prompts. But then after like 80, 90, it would start to degrade, and it would start to either leave off things it was supposed to, it would start formulating it differently than it was supposed to. And even though I tried like retraining it in that same instance, that doesn't work. You have to try, you have to use a whole new thing. So yeah, that's definitely one plugin you need to keep enabled, because memory bank just keeps everything straight stored the way that it needs to be. And the other plugin that we're going to use is Scraper, which is exactly what it sounds like. Scrapes web pages to try to get their information. And we will also leverage... Do I have it in here somewhere? Probably has too many to even pull up at one time. No, I guess either they changed the icon or they got rid of Link Reader. I was going to use that, but we'll just go with Scraper. Pretty much the same functionality. I'm going to enable...
I kind of like Scraper more. The other one wasn't like working anymore. I think I was testing last week, maybe. Maybe that's why it's not there anymore.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like after this or towards the end of this, I do want to like take a minute to dive into some new plugins that came out that actually are supposed to perform the same function as what Midjourney 5.2 does now, where it will take your prompt and sort of truncate it to the only necessary aspects that'll complete the task that you're trying to give it. It sounds very interesting. I haven't played with it yet, but anyhow, so got those plugins enabled, and so now we can do something as like really simple out the gate as like ask it to create 4 buyer personas based on the company and we'll go to let's do something a little bit funnier and smaller than Microsoft. We'll go to IHOP. I know you don't have that out there, Kristeen, and I think you should be glad that you don't.
Which one?
As you can see, it is definitely not like a healthy place to go eat food of any type.
Oh.
Pancake tacos. All right.
Oh my god.
So
I kind of wish we had a Taco Bell here, though.
Oh my god, really? Of all the fast food you want from America? Oh my god.
I would just look forward to how bougie they make it if they brought it over to Hong Kong.
Okay, so block my attempt to access content. Wow.
Oh my god, pancake tacos.
Based on its own knowledge. So I don't want to do that because it's not based on new knowledge. I'm not sure why. That's interesting though, that it blocked GPT from being able to access the content on the page. Because it's a public page, there's definitely nothing wrong with trying to get at it. Let me see if maybe.
Oh yeah, can you share your screen on the Google Meet so I can also see it live?
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's like lag for me.
Let's do that. I am so glad that I got the. Like at first I was like, nah, I don't need the high-end internet. I can get like a lower package to be okay with it. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to be like streaming and uploading and stuff like that. So maybe I should.
Yeah.
So let's change this. I'm going to change it to Denny's. Hopefully Denny's isn't going to block us.
Just Chick-fil-A or something.
And the reason I found that interesting is because it's like, well, I wonder if there's already some method to prevent GPT from scraping sites for data. Speaking of which, if you didn't know, be careful. Google's new policy now allows for it to pull data from anything. Anything it can get its hands on. Yeah. It was restricted to like things that are specifically found on Google, but now it is open season. They are collecting anything and everything, at which they've just entered into litigation season with Facebook over it. Okay, so so the result is that it could actually access the site, which is great. If you see what Scraper actually did, it'll show you, hey, I went to the site and these are all the things that I took a look at, which pretty much took a look at everything. And so, okay, well, what about memory bank and how does that work? After we've pulled this information, and again, this is a very basic version of this, we're just gonna say memorize this. Yeah, we'll just say memorize this. And so it's going to pop open memory bank and it's going to store this information in there. So this is pretty good. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the difference between pretty good, awesome, and probably best. So we've got, demographics, psychographics, behavior, needs, wants, and it's pretty good. It's not bad, like individuals, let's see, needs, wants. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, right? That's straight out the gate. That's not doing anything other than create 4 buyer personas based on this company, okay? So now let's go into like a little bit more of a heavier version of this. And in order to save some time and make this a little bit painless, what I'm going to say is describe the job duties of a, who do we want? Yeah, we're going to do revenue operations strategist. And so what I'm basically doing is I'm using GPT to create the prompt that I'm going to use to have it pull the data that I want, right? So what it's doing now is it's going ahead and it's going through what the revenue operations strategist typical job duties are. As it's explaining this, again, I'm going to use this in sort of a reverse engineer method to just quite literally copy and paste this, telling GPT that I want it to now take on the persona of a revenue operations strategist that's going to be based on all of these functions that now it's going to understand. So again,
it's similar to like when people play D&D and they have to like create a character sheet, kind of all the stats for that person, also kind of define the backstory and all that other stuff. So like if you have any D&D experience, it's kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
Instead of having to build it like from doing research or having to just think about it all the time, you can actually ask ChatGPT to help you with like getting some basic ideas.
So now I'm asking it to basically take all of that information and then sort of just break it down into like a conversational format. Okay. Sort of. I left out one thing. Describe these duties in paragraph format. This is why I say like what you put in is what you get out.
Yeah, the key thing is being as specific as you can about what you need. So, like, it requires you to actually think about how to describe what you need and have a vision or what you want the output to look like.
Mm-hmm. So so what we're doing, like basically what's being done here is, first of all, I'm asking it what its knowledge and understanding of a RevOps strategist is. It's giving me that information and that understanding. And now I'm asking it to essentially describe it to me as if it was telling me that that's what I'm supposed to be doing every day. So it's taking all of that information that it put together, and it's now putting it in a sort of directional sense, right? Which, when we're prompting GPT to do things, we are giving it directions on how to do things. So now my prompt is done, okay? So I can grab all of this, and I can come over to a new instance. I don't want to keep using the same one because it's going to essentially again, pull some of this data forward in future conversations, and I don't want it to be like mixed in any way. I don't want it to have to think between this answer and this answer. I want it to just know what it's supposed to do right out of the gate. So again, we're going to go to plugins, and this time we're going to, what's trending is very cool, but this time we're going to enable scraper and website performance. And so on top of everything else, I'm going to start by saying, I want you to take on the persona of a revenue operations strategist. Then I'm just going to paste everything that we'd already created. Because it says, as a revenue operations strategist, your main responsibilities will be to devise and execute strategies, plans that will maximize revenue growth for the company. You'll do this by identifying trends in the market within customer behavior, as well as analyzing the company's own sales performance. Part of this role involves working in tandem with various teams like sales, marketing, and customer success to ensure all strategies. That's the only part that we're going to change out of that. So we're going to say part of this role involves working closely with me in order to maximize all deliverables. Spell and informations. Cool. In your day-to-day duties, you'll be expected blah blah blah. Does not matter. You can even remove day-to-day. Responsible. Okay. No problem. No problems. Okay, and finally, let's see. In front of this, we'll say your specific expertise is using the data that you gather to assist in your recommendations for use with the HubSpot CRM platform. So now we've made it super, super specific. We've told it what it is, we've told it why it's doing what it's doing, and we've told it the specifics of what it's supposed to do within the role that we've asked it to be. So we're going to go ahead and at the very end of this, we're going to say, if you understand everything you're being asked to do, reply with, I get it, let's move on. Then we're going to use colon to basically indicate that like this is the very end of the first thought. It's going to take a little minute, and then I get it. Let's move on. So now we've prepped this instance, and we've told it, you know, everything that you already know about it. We've got the website performance aspect in there. So we're going to go back to this first example, and we're going to take the same prompt, same basic prompt that we used before, that we got these personas with. We're going to come over to our new instance. And we're going to ask the new instance to do the exact same thing.
Right, so, Scraper's doing its job.
Mm-hmm. Scraper's going to go pull his data. I'm kind of hoping that website performance doesn't jump in here just yet. I definitely want to show that a little bit.
I mean, if it does, you can just be like, you can just tell it off.
Yeah, right.
I didn't ask you to do that. Don't do that again.
You're not supposed to. Okay, so...
That's so cute, the family foodie.
Exactly, right? So, like, we've got the family provider, conscious consumer, birthday celebrator. Now, main difference I'm seeing, right, between these things, which is really, like, it's significant, okay? Gonna take a look at this after it's done. It's a little sad that it didn't format it the same way as the other one. The other one's, like, a little nicer looking. But realize that you can also tell it to change this format. You could say, I want this displayed as table data as opposed to what this is, and it will change it and turn it into a table. We'll do that in a second. So we've got, by comparison, we've got the family foodie. The biggest differences is that demographics is fine. Behaviors, preferences, and how Denny's can serve them. So we go back to the first example, and you have demographics, psychographics, behavior, needs and wants. But we don't know how the business can necessarily mold around this persona, right? We don't have, like, not necessarily. That's an aspect we would have to figure out, right?
Yeah.
now we already know that, right? We also know like preferences as opposed to behaviors, like needs and wants for this group, which is pretty much the same, is looking for a variety of food options to cater to different family members' tastes, appreciates the family-friendly atmosphere, convenience, and the Grand Slam pack, which serves 4 to 5 people. Whereas here we're saying variety of food options to cater to different tastes within the family, prefers restaurants that offer family-friendly environment and value for money. So now we're saying like we're switching it. This one actually does give us like a specific example of something off the menu that might serve them. Whereas this is basically opening that door and saying, anything that's really family friendly on the menu is going to service this customer, as long as it's family friendly and value for money, which is really the only things that you need to know.
You can always, and you can always like fine tune this if, like, for example, something looks a little off there. I mean, I think it's always better to kind of go through the website and kind of like have someone skim over it as well, just to double check. But just in general, like the way that it processes information after you've given it, a better indication of like what you are expecting and what job it has to do, already like it's already game changing because it already saves you so much time.
Right. And the fact that it's building up all this information, we're going to say store this, or memorize this rather. I kind of forgot in the beginning. I usually say like, hi, how are you? Like, because we're doing a demo, I forgot to like actually give it a salutation. I like to be nice to my GPTs. I don't.
He names all his instances. All have personas. Just like D&D characters.
Yeah, they all have different. There's researcher Randy. There's Walter.
I took that from you. I can be the career coach.
That's great. I don't know why. I started doing it a couple months ago, and I don't know. Just kept doing it from there. So
I heard like being nice to the instances actually changes the output. I feel like the nicer you are, the better stuff you get. I think the things like, again, like these models are based off of like predicting, right? And usually, I guess even in just general writing, if you are nice to a customer service representative, they tend to like give you more. So from that kind of perspective, like, because this is all trained on human data, being nice to your instance actually does well.
Let's see, so we got demo behaviors, preferences, how Denny's can serve them. Now we're building out goals, challenges, and the solution. And so like, once we've got these personas built out, right, now we can say like, what are the key firmographics that we need to build these personas as we utilize form strategy from a tofu, mofu, and bofu perspective. So this is what I really love about using GPT, that you only get with a few other like applications, which is that it actually like it's reinforced learning. So it's not just giving you like the output, but it's also telling you here's a little bit more about the output, whether it's what it was able to do or not. Like right off the bat here, it's actually telling you like what firmographics are, which is a little odd because you already know what that is necessarily, but gives you a little bit of context essentially. And I think the reason it's giving you that is to essentially like ease you into the choice that it's made. So it's created, it's basically telling us, okay, well, if we just look at industry size, company size, location, annual revenue, and business structure, those are probably some firmographics, but these firmographics aren't related to customer. So we said, what are the key firmographics we need to build these personas as we utilize form strategy? What I should say is these customer, or I should say buyer personas. It's a little strange.
I sort of like that does explain what firmographics are at the beginning, just so you kind of can gauge its understanding.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is like, okay, so now let's see, so perfect. So this is basically like breaking down, helping us understand like what are the data points that we need to look at when we're building out like forms that we're going to use on the site, and like what firmographics can we even go after, like what data can we actually track. And so it's good to know that it's like, okay, well, on a form that you're going to be asking your customers for this like food engagement, let's say, even asking like income level, educational level, marital status, occupation, like that's a bit high, like on, you know, on things.
Yeah.
But, you know, single, college educated, you know, I don't know, like, again, women in her 30s with a high income level, I'm not sure that you're going to garner that from a Denny's form.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
like
it depends
age,
on where
gender.
Denny is located too.
Right. Yeah. So it's also like, I'm wondering which, when it says B2C, I'm wondering like if it's actually taking into account, it's looking at it from a B2B perspective, right? So we actually asked it bad questions because we're asking it like essentially like almost B2B questions as opposed to B2C. It doesn't know how to apply this tactic towards a product-facing customer, I suppose. Let's see. So let's leave off the form styles. Let's say we're creating a landing page for a new Denny's breakfast item. What should be on the form? So again, like it's not just telling us like what, but it's also giving us the why, which I find to be extremely important when it comes to learning in general. Personally, that, you know, I like to find out, you know, the why behind stuff. So you can see that like this is what I was looking for actually when I was doing this. I was actually looking for like, okay, what are the questions that you could ask, and like what are the maximums essentially. So like on a breakfast landing page or asking people about like a new breakfast item, you're really only going to be able to ask like name, email address, which is going to be difficult, location, and preferred breakfast choice. Going beyond that, you might ask like time of day, you might ask, you know, maybe some other questions, but because of the fact that it's specifically related to a food item, I like the fact that it's keeping that centric. It's basically just wanting to know, hey, are you in the location of, because you could say on this aspect of this question, you could say, you know, it's important to let you know if this food item is going to be available in your area, to get updates on that or whatever the case may be. And then preferred breakfast choices, obviously going, you know, the same thing, what type of stuff they like with their breakfast. What I want to see is how this applies to what we get off the basic model.
Okay, so describing it. You have to like put the B2C thing in.
Yeah, because it's going way down the B2B road. This one went like kind of down the B2B road, but then it at least like it didn't go quite as deep as decision maker, which is definitely necessary.
Yeah, because the RevOps instance. Yeah, because the RevOps instance was trained on like scrape data, right?
Yeah, just the scrape basically. What progress we need to build these power personas. Did I just say? I think I just said show me the B2C versions or something. No.
So actually another thing I discovered like last week with the scraper tool and like some of the plugins. So you know how we had like that plugin that visualize that can actually like visualize stuff for you?
Yeah.
So I had to like visualize a customer journey and I found out Mermaid code can do that. It can't do like you can't put the wants and needs section of the customer journey. But like if you want to move like go further like with these buyer personas, you can also create another instance using like the visualization plugins, and then ask you like, hey, can you visualize like, what a typical customer journey for so buyer persona would look like.
Right. Yeah. So like even given this, so like the basic version of it did a basic output. Even when it came to B2C, at least the more advanced, like let's call it the more advanced RevOps strat, the more experienced one, did like a much nicer job in the breakdown. Whereas the basic one actually broke when it came to showing the additional information. Right. It's just like, here's your bare bones
stuff. It's not my job.
Yeah.
It's not my job, so it's all I give you.
Right. Okay, and oh shoot, something you just said that I wanted to do. We were gonna break out. Oh yeah, so give an example of buyer's journey. Now, this isn't going to be like, I don't think this is going to be super detailed because, again, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, go to the main page, go to contact us, and fill out the form. But let's see. This is great.
It's actually not bad. That's how I would discover Denny's if I, moved to the US and was like, what's the Denny's?
Right.
I keep passing by it on the highway.
Well, it has to be good.
On my way to work.
So again, let's go back to the basic.
Wow, they did a story this time about a particular person. Don't know why they chose the name John.
I don't, it's always interesting when it decides to start. I shouldn't say fabricating, but like when it starts doing its own aspect. This is interesting. We did not get retention on the higher end model.
Post-purchase. I mean, we could ask it, I guess, but the fact that it didn't put it in. But they didn't put decision.
But it's also two different personas. This one did the busy professional. So let's see. Will there be a need for retention / follow-up? It's probably going to say no, but yes. Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I guess it's really clinging on to the tofu thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Instead of if you kind of hold it to go more like say the flywheel route, like flywheel route, then it would have like automatically like the light stage as part of it maybe.
Okay, let's see. So I only want it to memorize the last two. I don't want it to use the tofu, mofu, bofu. And on this copilot, let's say memorize those. Oh, yeah, that's true. I am using two at once. That
only one message at a time.
The amount of times that I've done this, where like I try to bounce back and forth using multiple GPT instances.
At this point, you should get like 3 accounts.
I know. I am thinking about it. Like I'm probably gonna get a GPT with me. Yeah.
Different browsers.
Basically. Let's see.
It's the hotspot flywheel methodology.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't know if it'll do like it'll just like adopt like how to actually make a flywheel.
That would have been a really interesting answer though. So we did we get this? We got awareness. Okay.
Track, engage, and delight is the next one. All right.
Nicely done. Let's see.
Special offers, new menu item. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like then you could really go into like the nitty-gritty for each personas, like, you know, for the life stage, what could we potentially like send them the emails? How do we cater the loyalty program for like a busy professional or something like that?
Yeah, we could. I mean, so that's the thing, is like once this persona is created, you can go like, you know, just exactly what Kristeen said, you can go nuts with it. Say like create a list of media and email marketing messages that cater to the busy professional.
Is there an event happening in like August or something? I guess like you could like go further, like, oh, I want like summer deal stuff.
Oh
you know?
my gosh, really? That's
Or
terrible.
you can like
I actually hit my cap for GPT-4 for the hour. How many people are? Oh my god! Because of interpreter, I didn't even think about that. It must be getting slammed because of that.
probably.
Wow! Look at that. I can't use anything off of 4. Wow!
Oh no!
How bad is that getting
I mean,
slammed?
Pretty bad. I'm guessing 'cause, like everyone just
Jeez.
woke up and saw the code interpreter
Yeah.
news today.
Dude, Steve Norrie posted about it this morning, and then Generative AI posted about it, and I was like, I want to post about it, but I was just going to go over it in the show. Oh man. Okay. Well,
Also, isn't it about time that people are done with church or something? So they'll be coming home from church and like, hey, let me like chat people.
That's usually about an hour from now. Don't know which.
Really?
Yeah. I don't. Man, that is so weird. Wow.
That's so funny.
I would apologize, but it's
Well,
absolutely
anyway,
not my fault.
we did cover pretty like a lot though. Like, you know, first of all, like setting up like that whole RevOps instance, like, yeah, you know, kind of creating that job description / character sheet,
Mhm.
so that the instance knows what it has to do and kind of can go above and beyond what a basic instance would be capable of. And we kind of showed the differences of the response, right?
Yeah.
And then other than that, we've kind of shown that you can actually use the plugins to scrape a website and create like these basic personas. Obviously, like, you know, you still have to vet some of the information, but for the most part, it gets a lot of information right, and it adds like a lot of things that you might have had to take like ages to even figure out.
Mhm.
And then like we've kind of showcased how to like, dive even deeper into the research process or kind of developing some of the strategies and stuff. I mean, obviously you still need to do some research for the target audience. Say, for example, you don't have like the time or the money to actually do some research. At least you have some baseline of like where to start and what to do.
Yeah, this gives you that like jumping off point for sure, that you're able to start really expanding your abilities with what you're doing in terms of like your daily, I wouldn't say like minutia, but like a lot of research, right? Like we all do a lot of research for RevOps, trying to get to know our clients, trying to get to know what they do, trying to get to know the ins and outs of their business. And this is a really good way of being able to shortcut some of that. Again, you know, when browser comes back, I highly recommend using that along with this, or at least, you know, taking that modified version of the RevOps strategist. The reason I like doing it this way is because you can carry this over into any instance using any version. So even on 3.5, this will work fairly well. Again, 3.5 is not going to have access to the web. You won't be able to use plugins, so your data is going to be 2021 and less. But carrying this over and then using this on the daily, you know, like Kristeen said, like you're just going to start to find ways in which you can start cutting like a little bit of time out of your day, so that you're really just fact checking and double checking what's going on to make sure that it aligns. As opposed to having to do
and
that
it's not about
initially.
time.
Like,
it's not just about time. It's also just effort in general, because like, you know, it's the mental load that it takes to do this is quite a lot, right? And that kind of leaves you unable to do other things throughout the day. So if you can kind of like offload that to ChatGPT, which, you know, can obviously process a lot of data really, really quickly, then it is so good.
I mean, even in terms of like, again, this is, you know, it's 3.5, so I'm not sure if it's actually even pulling from this instance or where it's pulling from, but a lot of the questions that you would normally ask towards a client in like those kickoff calls, this helps you sort of get like a bit of an understanding, so your clients feel like you know their business a little bit better, and it helps build that relationship and that trust with them.
Yeah. Alrighty. Does anyone who's watching have any questions you want to ask, any curiosities or stuff you want us to cover next week?
Yeah, would love you guys'
like
feedback.
2 viewers. I don't know if it's counting me. We have 2 viewers, and I don't know if it's counting me.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming that you're the second. Unless,
we did go up to 5, which is pretty good for our first show.
No, I think you know, we'll definitely. I will definitely be working on the getting the technical stuff ironed out, and we are working towards getting the live aspect on our LinkedIn page. So we're endeavoring to get that set up so that I can get that linked. I need to go back and figure out how to put my LinkedIn key on my personal stuff into Discord or into Streamlabs so that I can get that going, which means I need to sign up for Ultra so I can have that going. So yeah, it'll definitely be a lot better, a lot smoother next week.
Hey
Francisco, what's
Thanks
happening?
for watching.
Aaron and Francisco, thank you guys. And yeah, definitely we'll be back next week, and we'll dive a little bit further into the RevOps bot and go more into like what's all possible with that, but also didn't get a chance to show off the website performance tool plugin, so definitely want to dip into that next time.
Many cool things we haven't shown them, like, but you know, that's the fun thing. It's nice having like other people who are nerding out with us in chat. So yeah, also if you really enjoyed this episode, super appreciate if you could, like, you know, give us like a little mention on LinkedIn, you know, if you found certain things useful, or if you've managed to like actually put it into practice. Thank you so much for sticking with us throughout our first show.
Definitely. Thank you guys.